Pastor Ayan preached about the Rizpah. Wow, when he said Rizpah, I was like, wow, what charisma. and I thought, wow, I really never have heard of this woman, never come across, was never paying attention. And I hope you have been inspired and touched. Pastor Ayan preached about this very interesting person, a woman whose love was so fierce, and even some of our words, maybe we feel very crazy. And I think Pastor Ayan used the word crazy, very xiao. I believe many of us, we caught the heart of Rizpah, of what we need to carry for the next gen. Those of you who stood up last Sunday, those of you who stood up and respond that you want to be the Rizpah for the next generation, I want to ask you one question. Do you remember who you stood for? If you don't, can I just invite us just to close our eyes again? Just take a moment. Those of you who stood up last Sunday, just close your eyes. Who did you stand for? Think about your response to recall who you have stood up for. Those of you who didn't get to hear, this is also for you as well. And I want to encourage you to go back and listen to what Pastor Ayan has preached. But may God empower every one of us to have that fierce and crazy love that Rizpah has. Now we can open our eyes. Usually, Pastor Ayan and I, when we meet up during the week, we will just talk about what went on, review about what happened on Sunday. So my first question to him was, because I was standing right in front, so I didn't say, who stood up? So I asked him, how was the response? I was asking him. He said, those who are maybe not part of Shalom, maybe didn't really stand up, but almost all, even the second level one, the people at the second level, yeah, Li Hui, even the people on the second level stood up. When I heard about that, I want just to say, I'm really, really encouraged just to hear about how you have chosen to stand up for. And I hope you remember who you have chosen to stand up for. Today, I want to share with us how we can be the Rizpah for the next gen in a more practical and a concrete ways as a church. Pastor Ayan has preached a very inspiring message. We know that we need to respond to have a crazy and fierce love for the next gen. But today, as I share, I'm going to bring forward practical and concrete steps that you can love crazily and fiercely for the next gen, especially for us as a church, as we go deeper in this journey. And I will share with us a very familiar figure whose story will be another important anchor for all of us as God's people, for all of us to remember about why and how we will serve and love the next gen. And this person is none other the story of Nehemiah. How many of you know Nehemiah's story? Raise your hand. How many of you? Only a few. Okay, those of you don't really know, it's okay. Here is me. I need to give you a context. Unfortunately, Nehemiah's story is longer than Rizpah. So I need to give a better context, a clearer context. Okay? So, ready to follow through? Ayo. Okay, very good, very good. Was I ready to follow through? I don't know. Depends on how long you speak. Now, there was a time when Israelites was in the exile because they sinned against God, and the consequence is that they have to be kicked out of their own place, their own city. But then, after 70 years, once they are under the rule, no longer in the Babylonian ruling, but they are under the Persian rule, the Persian king was moved by God to release some of the Israelites back to their city, Jerusalem. So some of these Israelites, they started to work on restoring Jerusalem because it's important to them. They need to restore because they were in ruins. The first temple that they built was destroyed. So the first thing that they did was they went back and rebuilt the temple. Then Ezra, this other guy, he was in charge of bringing forth reforms in the legal and the religious manner. And he brought forth to the people of Israel, saying to them, guys, we need to return to the word of God. We need to go back and study and go live by the law that God has given to us. In Judaism, they call it the Torah. Essentially, it's the first 5 books of our Bible, Old Testament, the first 5 books. So that was the early start of the restoration for the people of Israel, as some of them started going back to Jerusalem. Sounds good, right? The restoration in progress. Until there was one issue. And the issue was that the walls of Jerusalem remained to be in ruins. Give us a visual, huh? I give a first point already. The walls was in ruins. So the people who were living in Jerusalem, every time they look at the walls, they're very sian. It's like, wow, we still live in a city, we still live as a people where there's so many things that is not settled. Last time when I was watching the NDP, right, then now I better appreciate how come there's always like all the military, all the different SAF, right? SAF, MINDEF groups coming out, marching, showing to us as a nation, this is what we have. This is the strength of our nation. And it's the same thing for Jerusalem, for the people of Israel. When they saw the walls, it's like picturing our nation's defense is very cui, very jalat. Like how to live a very secure life. And so the people of Israel, those who were living in Jerusalem, every day they saw the ruined walls. And they were living in distress, they lived in fear, and they lived in shame. You read Nehemiah chapter 1, you will know. They live in shame because the ruins of the wall reminded them of how they were first defeated. They were in shame because they were reminded God at one point in time abandoned them. And so they lived very discouraged lives. And the broken walls, the news about the broken walls, the news about how the Israelites were feeling, these news traveled to this guy called Nehemiah. He's an Israelite official who is serving under the Persian government. So this news was made known to Nehemiah. When he heard about it, patriotic, he loved his people, he loved God, and he loved what God has set out to make Israel to be. And so he was grieving when he heard the news. And out of his grief, he went into a long period of time in prayer and fasting. How long did he pray and fast? Most scholars took, based on the Bible, chapter 1 and 2, they saw that he must have prayed and fasted for 4 months. It recorded that the moment he heard, it was at a certain month, and then 4 months later, then he shared about the situation with the Persian king. And so he got favor from the Persian king, and the Persian king said, okay, you go. I see you so sian. I think you go better lah. This is a Singaporean. And that, I don't think that was what he said. But he had the favor from the Persian king and said, go, rebuild the walls of your nation. That was so much favor, you see. And so he went back. And so let me share 3 key points as I give the background context. I want to encourage you, if you have not read through, if it's been some time you've read about the story of Nehemiah, this week, just read through and remember the things that I'm going to say for today. Okay? 3 points, as I revealed just now. Rebuilding the wall was as good as rebuilding the city and the community. The wall, those of you who have studied and know, how long did it take for the people to build the wall? How long did it take? It's a Bible trivia. Anyone? Give a guess? Those don't know, okay, just give a guess. How long do you think it took them? Don't Google, Uncle Try is the Google. 52 days. You must be thinking, hey, how big is Jerusalem? Very big, okay? So the fact that when they were able to finish rebuilding the wall within 52 days, right? As the people of Israel who saw it, it gave them a lot of confidence. They realized, hey, this kind of work is impossible for us to achieve within 52 days. It must have been God who gave us the ability to finish rebuilding the wall. Now, for them to rebuild the wall, it means more than just rebuilding, restoring the physical wall. It restored and strengthened the Israelites' faith and confidence in God. And it also means, now as a city, as a nation, we are more secure. And that's why rebuilding the wall was also more about rebuilding the city. Here's what I believe. Rebuilding the next gen is going to be a critical piece to build the church to the next level. Now, I believe this, Pastor Ayan and I, we talked about this, and we resonated about this. The moment when we prioritize as a church to love and serve the next generation, it will cause a domino effect. Meaning, those of us who are not seeing ourselves as the next gen, right? We may be wondering, always talk about next gen, then what about us? Now I want to tell you this. The moment we prioritize this work with all that we have, with all that we got, it's going to impact every generation. I am very confident of this. It's going to impact every generation. But the very first work and the focus that we need to do, we need to start doing this work. They are like the walls. They are like the walls that we need to focus in this season. There's a book by Fuller Youth Institute. This was a book that I read during my sabbatical. It's called Growing Young. How many of you would love to grow younger? No, we like to grow old. But I thought it's a very interesting concept. It's calling forth the church to have the concept and mindset of growing young. Meaning, it's always seeking to look out for the next generation. And this group, they were doing a research on the American churches over a few years. They found something. Churches that seek to grow young, meaning they prioritize building the next generation, they actually add more to the church. They add more to the church. Let me share just two observations. The first observation is that they found that it infuses greater passion. Please note this. Pastor Ed and I really never thought about this period will be a time where we say, let's go all in and talk about the next gen. But as I look at this observation, it's like, wow, very timely. This year for our church is about year of passion. And God has his own way of unfolding his story. It infuses greater passion. I thought about all the inspiring messages since church retreat and the whole month of July. And you know what? I thought about this. No matter how inspiring the message can be, every one of us here, we can still choose to be unmoved. Does it make sense to you? No matter how inspiring, how great the message can be, every one of us can still choose to be unmoved. And apparently, the way how I observe how each one of you, as a collective church, can I say this? Brothers and sisters, Shalom Baptist Chapel, I'm really amazed. I'm really amazed of how God has moved your hearts. And I don't want to take this for granted. I hope you don't take this for granted. I hope you don't tell yourself in the weeks to come saying to yourself, yeah, so many great speakers, of course, will be moved. No, not true. Not true. In fact, there is one of you, I will not share who this person is, but I pray this person will one day share when this person continues to journey with God. This person, I had a chance to hear how you have felt God moved your heart. Left, right, center. It's not just one time. It's like, move one time already. Then the person remains unmoved. Then God move again. It's like, cannot be moved, cannot be unmoved. This person said. This person is not married, does not have kids. No visible children in this person's life. But this person said, I just felt God call. You know, the most powerful person that can be a part of God's great work is not about looking at your talents, about your giftings, but it's about when we say, I heard God's call, I don't know how, I do not know why God called me, but I just want to obey. This person is one testimony. And I know there are many others of us that God has moved you, that we know God has stirred a deeper passion, even as we just open our hearts and our ears, looking at how we are called to love and serve the next gen. The next observation is simple. The overall health of the church improves. Let me say this again. This is the observation that they have found in the US, those who have focused on growing young. Those churches who have focused on doing the work of reaching out, loving the next generation. Very interesting findings, isn't it? This was a quote by one of the writers. I thought this is something for us to think about. You can't build a great church with a bad student ministry. They call it student ministry, but for us, we call it children and youth. Or maybe here for our work, we say the next generation. You can't build a great church with a bad children and youth ministry. And you can't build a great children and youth ministry with a declining church. Now, what I want to say is this. Please, those who are young, the young people here, please know this. This is not the heart of the church. If any, at one point, we as a church, those of us who are older, make you feel like we are using you, we are not. And we don't want to be the church that just say, oh, because the church needs you. No. We want to be a church where we will recognize the young generation needs the church. And we will be the church where we'll lend our shoulders to let them step on us. Step on us. I like the word step on us. That means it's like with humility. Yeah? We're willing to let them step on us so that they can go greater heights for the kingdom of God. We need both. We need each other. This is the second observation where I see in Nehemiah's work. And among all 3 points, this will be a point I want to bring across in a greater measure. This will be the point at the end of the message. I will share with us how that would look like. Rebuilding the wall requires the whole community. Nehemiah did not build the wall alone, by the way. Although the book of Nehemiah is put Nehemiah, he was the leader, but the whole community was the one. Nehemiah felt the burden. He saw and knew what was on God's heart when nobody knew about it. He was an important figure, but it was the community. It was everyone in Jerusalem that was critical to rebuild the wall. I want to get us to just read the first 4 verses of chapter 3, and I'll ask Joshua to read for us. But if you can, just read together with him. Okay?
Church, let's read together. Nehemiah chapter 3, verse 1 to 2. Eliashib the high priest and his fellow priests went to work and rebuilt the sheep gate. They dedicated it and set its doors in place, building as far as the Tower of the Hundred, which they dedicated, and as far as the Tower of Hananel. The men of Jericho built the adjoining section, and Zakur, son of Imri, built next to them. The
What
fish
more?
gate
Oh, okay.
was rebuilt by the sons of Hasenaa. They laid its beams and put its doors and bolts and bars in place. Meremoth, son of Uriah, the son of Hakkoz, repaired the next section. Next to him, Meshulam, son of Berechiah, the son of Meshezabel, made repairs, and next to him, Zadok, son of Baana, also made repairs.
Okay, while he's reading the word, I'm trying to build a wall. Okay, those of you, raise your hand if you don't have a brick like this. Do you all have one? Can you raise your hand? Just say you have. Those of you don't have, then Asha will give you one. Very good, very good. Oh, you don't have. Uncle Philip doesn't have. Now this is for you to keep, okay? For you to keep later on. I'll share more what it's about. Don't shake, I didn't tell you to shake. Just put one side. Just put one side. Just put one side. Now, if you were to read the whole of chapter 3, which I will not do that, there's about 30 plus verses altogether. In that 30 plus verses, more than 50 people's names were mentioned. And the way how they built was, one person built, one group of people built, the ones who are living next to them built the next one. Or instead of building, they repair. So it's not just rebuilding, but it's also repair. You will hear those words, rebuild, build walls and repair. Build walls and repair. And every person just focus on building where they are at. And at the end of the day, they were able to rebuild the wall of Jerusalem. More than 50 names. And these people, mind you, they are not the construction workers. They are not certified to be the construction workers. Of those for us in Singapore, it's the guest workers. They came to Singapore to build for us, to build homes for us. But these people, they come with different professions, different backgrounds. And let me just list what backgrounds they are from. Let me see. Yes, okay. Oh, okay. They are priests, goldsmiths, nobles, servants, district leaders, perfumers. People who make anointing oil. Perfumers, gatekeepers. These are the people's profession of those who were building and repairing. They are not the people who will say, I'm the skilled one. I have the background. I'm the engineer who knows how to rebuild the wall. I think Uncle Chai is wondering, how does that happen? It's like, it would be wonderful. Maybe Uncle, we'll leave that conversation for after service. Whether it's possible in today's context for layman people to build that kind of wall. But everyone helped. Everyone, actually not everyone, later on I will share, but most of them, they contributed. And in the same way, the way how we're going to love the next gen and serve the next gen is this. God is calling every one of us. No matter how young, no matter how old, He is calling every one of us to rebuild the next generation. To rebuild the next generation. It will not just be for the existing Sunday school teachers. Why I say existing? Because I am trusting God that God will equip more of you to be teachers to the young ones. God is not just calling the pastors. God is not just calling to say, let's hire outside people to be the children or youth pastors. He's not. He's not. I don't think He is. God is not just calling the younger ones to relate with the younger ones. It takes a village to raise a kid. We say this for our own biological family. Why are we not saying this for the church? In fact, it is the same. It takes the whole church to raise and build up the next generation. Now, some of us will have more to offer. Some of us may be like, okay, I can do this, maybe different from how you can offer. And that's great. We all have something to offer. We just have to keep on saying yes. At the last portion of my message, I will share with us how we're going to go deeper in practical ways. But I will go on to the last point. Rebuilding the wall has and will have its challenges. Now, try reading Nehemiah chapter 1 to 6. I want to encourage you, read through for this coming week. You will, to get a feeling and a sense of the challenges that Nehemiah faced. But you will note that there are three very annoying people, the enemies. Three very annoying people called Sanballat, Tobiah, and Geshem. I don't even know if I'm pronouncing their names correctly. When I read Sanballat, I say, what? Sounds like Sampat. Sanballat. Then you will remember, all these are very annoying people. They were doing all kinds of things to try to stop Nehemiah from rebuilding the wall. They were discouraging him. They were making threats and accusing Nehemiah of things that he didn't do. He faced oppositions. But not only that, Nehemiah faced challenges whereby some people, the Israelites, some people, they are not willing to be involved in the building. Okay? And this group of people, they are the nobles. Nehemiah 3, verse 5 says this. It describes how they respond. Their nobles will not stoop to serve their Lord. Do you know what that means? Stoop to serve their Lord. I try to rephrase it in our Singapore context, okay? We will say, this work is beneath me. Not worth it. I'm meant for more. I don't think this is of great value for me to do. It's a waste of my time. Not worth it. Very mafan. There's pride in these nobles when all other people are joining in the work. And it's not just about their unwillingness to submit to the leadership of Nehemiah. I thought this verse is saying something deeper. In their unwillingness, they're actually unwilling to serve God, who is the true Lord that has called Israelites to rebuild the wall. Now, the work of loving and serving the next gen will have its own challenges. I will not list out because every one of us, when we choose to give of ourselves to the work, God will reveal what is challenging to you. It could be time. It could be something like, "Wow, I don't understand the word that they say." Wow, how come they don't respect me? When I'm here to serve them already, they don't give me a respect. Wow, they don't respect me, then why for I love them? Might as well they 自己顾自己. I'm going to tell you, it's going to be challenging. Different forms. These are just a bit of some. This is a bit of some. But let's remember, one of the speakers said, actually the young ones are easy to love. They are easy to love. They are easy to love. But I want to say this. There will be potential challenges that will tempt us to say, no lah, I think that's it for me. That's it for me. Whether it's the enemy of the invisible, that is Satan, or the voices of the world, where every one of us, we will be busy. We have our own commitments and all that. Or maybe for us, we don't like to say this. Maybe for us, we just say, if we were to be honest, maybe we feel lazy. I've got better things to do. Now, how can we respond when we face challenges in our lives? Nehemiah taught us two ways. We got to fight through intercession. You read through Nehemiah 1 to 6. I want to encourage you, read carefully how Nehemiah prays. He fights. He has a fighting spirit within him. He fights in his intercession. He doesn't say, please God, please God. He has certain way of imagining, God, please do this. He partners with God to just speak things against the enemies. He fights through intercession. This will be a very important work that we will need to do. And we need to stay focused on our intention. We're not going to preach about the next gen for every Sunday already. But even when we are not preaching, we will face challenges, but we need to stay focused. We want to tell ourselves, never forget about this work that God has given to us. Nehemiah said this when his opposition was trying to slow him down. He said this, I am doing a great work and I cannot come down. Why should the work stop while I live it and come down to you? This guy, Nehemiah, focus. He is focused. He knows what needs to be done because he knew this is an assignment from God. This is not just a good idea, but this is an assignment that God has given to him. So even when the three enemies come like a very annoying flies, like flies, when you eat in hawker center, maybe not so much these days. I imagine like when we were younger, when we're eating outside, no aircon, then all the flies start to come fly around when you're eating your food. It's like, very annoying. It felt like that for Nehemiah. These three enemies, they were just like the flies trying to slow him down. He still remains focused. And we can also learn from the nobles by noting how we cannot be like them. How not to be like the nobles who chose to say, I don't want to stoop down to serve my Lord. And this is two attitudes. Be humble, brothers and sisters. Be humble and trust in God's plan. Trust this is God's assignment for his church, for Shalom Baptist Chapel. I think it's not just Shalom Baptist Chapel, but it's really for the whole church in Singapore. For the whole church in Singapore. And my prayer is that Shalom, we will not be like the nobles when every other Singapore churches say, yes, let's win the next gen. But then we say, wow, look, we are a small church. How to give? I know this, you all are in. But I want to remind you again, let's trust in God's plan. This is God's assignment for his church, for Shalom Baptist Chapel. Be humble and trust in God's call. Now, can I just ask those of you who have been in Shalom, you know that you have been here for more than 10 years? More than 15 years? Now, those of you like, I need to count already. 20 years. Okay, good. Okay, never mind. Now, those of you who have been Shalom for more than 10 years and beyond, I believe you will resonate with this word, rebuild. We are called to rebuild the next gen. It is not that we had nothing. As a church, we had something for the next gen. I've been in Shalom for 20 years. Wow. Okay, I cannot say I'm very old in front of my, of my seniors. But I know the story. I know what God did in and through this church. Raise your hands if you have come to know Christ as a child or as a youth in Shalom. Then remain your hands raised up. Raise your hands if you come to know Christ because it was through your child that you came to Shalom and therefore you have become a believer. Keep your hands raised. Those of you who raise your hands, just remain your hands raised. Okay. Raise your hands if you grew as a Christian while serving the children and youth. You're all very tired to raise your hands already. There's quite a number of us. Okay, you can keep your hands down. That means it's a good thing we have some new people in our midst. But those of you who have raised your hands, this means you will agree with me how God has used Shalom to be a church to love and serve the next gen. I will always proudly say I'm a VBS kid. I came to know Christ because Shalom faithfully runs Vacation Bible School. Some of you can proudly say, I came to Shalom, came to know Christ because Shalom had a student care center. And those of you who are parents, you will say, I came because my children came to know Christ through student care. God is not done with Shalom. If you agree with this, please say amen. Some of you might be wondering what happened, those of you who are pretty new to the church. I'll leave that story to another day, but those of you have been a part of Shalom, whether you see it on the surface or whether you are aware of what God has done and what we have done or not done, you know it. But you know what? I felt when I was reading through Nehemiah, I felt a similar sense of shame that the Israelites have felt when they saw the ruined walls. All these things didn't happen overnight. There are many things that God started to put in my heart in 2023. The year that I found myself, I use this word, I tell most of y'all, I felt I was being parachuted down back to the youth in 2023. Like, out of nowhere, I'm there. Not because I want to, but because I have to. It took me 1 year. And I'm so thankful for the young people who tahan me since 2023. Who have been like, I don't understand what she's trying to say. I cannot relate with her. Cannot connect. Wow, is she saying these things to judge us? I also don't know whether you all feel that way. But I'm just thinking, wow, God, how many times of mistakes I've made for those Sundays. I hope y'all are not tahaning me still. Those two boys. Very distracted now. They do not know I'm talking about them. It took me 1 year. It took me 1 year where I say, wow, I was in culture shock for 1 year. But the Lord put in me many things in that 1 year. And moving on to 2024, I felt God say, why you do so much on your own human strength? And I felt the call to pray, to start interceding. And I felt He was giving me something. So I prayed and I told Him, God, I don't want this to be my idea. I don't want it to be, I see a problem, then naturally I want to go and fix it. I don't want that. I've lived through ministry years where I'm always the fixer. I see a gap, I fill the gap. I said to God, no, I don't want to just see it. I don't want to use my own human eyes to do that work. I want it whereby you are telling me, this is your idea. I prayed to God while I felt that burden, and He gave me the story of Nehemiah since 2024. There was nothing that I have. There was no one running with me. But there was this picture. God wants to rebuild the next generation in Shalom. And then Pastor Ayan, I only shared a bit of things that I felt God was telling me. Then he said, oh, just like Nehemiah. I was like, wow, okay, your affirmation will be the confirmation that this will be the anchor narrative for us as a church. All this happened before I went for sabbatical. And then as I see God unfolding the things that He's doing throughout this year, and I felt that from last week when Pastor Ayan said, as he wraps up. He said wrap up. I was like, oh, you cannot wrap up. I'll be the one to wrap up. I felt that it's time to share with the Shalom family and those of you who are still new. This is for you to hear as well. You're welcome to be a part of this work. It is time that God's people in Shalom needs to hear God wants to rebuild the next generation. He's not just talking about those who are only present here. He's not telling us, keep those who are here. He's saying we need to go and win those we have not even known yet. But this is a work that I cannot do alone. This is a work that Pastor Ian cannot do alone. This is a work that requires the whole church to do, that in our obedience, we will see a miracle, just like the Israelites saw a miracle that the wall was rebuilt within 52 days. I am not promising you what will happen, but I'm only telling you there is an assignment. God decides the timeline. We just do. We just do. We partner with God in the rebuilding. And when things get tough, may we remind ourselves to be like Nehemiah saying, I am doing a great work. I cannot come down. I cannot stop. Why should the work stop? And so, brothers and sisters, we need to rebuild the next gen because it will be a key work to build the church to the next level. We need to be a church. We need to continue to grow and grow as disciples, as ourselves, so that we can be the church that allows the next generation to step on our shoulders so that God's kingdom be extended. We need to rebuild the next gen as a whole community. There is no such thing as leave it to the younger ones or leave it to the experts. Every one of us have something. You got a break. May this thing that you hold be a reminder for yourself. I have something to offer to the next gen. I have something to offer to the next gen. Not leftovers, but the best to our next gen. And we need to rebuild the next gen even when there are challenges. Fight with intercession. Stay focused on our intention. Be humble and trust in God's plan and assignment. I'm here to bring this message to you all. It's not my idea, but please hear God's heart. Please hear on God's heart. Now, ultimately, God is the rebuilder. Nehemiah, at the end of the story, right, the book of Nehemiah is not saying, wow, Nehemiah, great leadership. A lot of preachers talk about that. I mean, we can do that. But I learned something. In the story of Nehemiah, we learn something about who God is. God is a God who wants to rebuild lives. He's a God who wants to restore. And all we need to do is we give what's on our hands the break wholeheartedly to the work and our rebuilder, with our rebuilder. Now some of you are like, is Pastor saying when is she going to share about how can we practically do the work? No. You can respond 4 ways. This is just the beginning, okay? But we're going to start with this. 4 ways to respond. 4 ways that your break can look like. Be present, be personal to the current next generation who are already in here. And those, we did a survey, not everyone responded in June, but just based on those who responded, I'm aware you have young people in your lives who are not in the church. I'm saying this. I'm not telling you you must bring them to Shalom. I'm not saying that. But I want to encourage you. Ask God how you can be personal, how you can seek to be present for that young person that is in your life. Pray about that. Be present, be personal. Now, I actually forgot. As I share the 4 ways, right? After I shared, I want us to do this. You have papers on your pews. You have pens. If you need pens later on, ushers can help you. But as you hear me share, I want you to respond later on. What I will need you to do, you write your name. And then as God leads you, how you felt stirred to respond, you write number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. Please know this. This is between you and God, okay? Between you and God. But keep it first. Hear me out. All right? Hear me out. Okay, can I move on? All right, okay. Number 2, partnership in God's kingdom. Now, those of us who have journeyed through together, you know that we have connected, we have been blessed through many other churches who is doing a wonderful job in reaching out to the next gen. We have really got favor from the Promised Land Church. And one of the things, what we hope to do is to continue active partnership with them. And they're very happy. They say, come. I have a chance to talk to Pastor Andy and his team, and I really felt that they are also carrying our burdens in Shalom. And so they say, come, join us, bring your people, bring your team, let's serve together. And so that's what we're going to do. There's an outreach on 4th October called Hero Amaze. We want to trust God to partner with them. This time around, those of you who have gone to Promised Land Church to go there and see what they do, right? This time around, it's not go there and see. This time around, it's go there and do work together, okay? We go there, serve together on the outreach for children. It's called Hero Amaze, 4th October. There will be a team fellowship and meeting on the 31st August. I really want to say kudos to those of you who went to the Promised Land Church to see what was happening, and then you have said yes. 8 out of 10? I think 8 out of 10 of you, I'm excluding myself and Pastor Anna, 8 out of 10 of you said, yes, I want to join this fellowship and meeting. In case you didn't get the memo, joining this meeting means doing the work also. Not go there, CC. And I'm so encouraged. Now, some of you, you see this, you say, hey, got already 8 people. Sounds like got enough people. Let me say this. If you feel stirred, you say, I really want to be a part. Tell me. Put your response here. Okay? Now, this is just going to be a start. We are trusting God. God will continue to help us and show us how we can further be in active partnership with them. We're going to serve together. We're going to learn from them as we serve together. Okay? This is the second way you can respond. Now, the third is this. Be a part of the TNG, not TNT. TNG team in Shalom. Now, what is this about? I have nothing specific, concrete, but I have this very simple things. What to expect when you say yes to this? Come in with the posture, you're partnering with God. Your work will be praying, planning, and pushing to make things happen. Praying, planning. Actually, at first I said execute, but I think, push to make things happen. That's all 3 Ps. Or 4 Ps, partner with God. We will have fun together as being part of TNG team. We will make a lot of trial and errors. We will experiment. We will continue to do these things to rely by the reliance of God. This is the third way you can respond. And the fourth, be a part of a prayer intercessory team. If there is anything that I've learned in my journey, prayer is the fuel and the bedrock of this work. Prayer is the bedrock of how we are going to accomplish this assignment. Now I'm going to invite Yuan to come up. And for the rest of us, this is what I would want to invite us. If you're already, I know what I want to do already. Wonderful. I want you to do this in a prayerful manner as well. You write your name, and then in the response paper, you respond as a response to God. Say, I want to do number 1, or maybe you say, I want to be doing number 4, or you felt that I want to do all 4. If you feel stirred, however the Lord is leading you, but you might be saying, but I really do not know how. And that's okay. This is your first response. Either Pastor Ayan or myself, we're going to follow up with you all. We are serious about this assignment. But I hope every one of you, especially those of you who are part of Shalom family, you will be serious about this assignment. And trust that God is going to show you something more. God is going to show you that He is God. And so I want to do this. Yuan will lead us in the singing, 2 hands, 1 heart. We've got 2 hands, 1 heart. That is what God is calling us to respond to. Once you have written your name, the numbers, you can 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 3, 4, 1, 2. Then take a photo. Take a photo before you bring the paper to the front, okay? Because I put in the front, I don't remember how I respond. So take a photo of your response. That will be your own soft copy record. But I need to have your written paper.